Well, hey there and welcome back for another Secondhand Opinions video, the goodwill of good ideas. I'm Jason Alderman, the internet's favorite fat mouth, fat guy bringing you fat stacks of freaky facts. And there's been a lot of talk about polls going on recently, and everybody kind of knows what to think of that. It's all hogwash anyway, but I do have a poll that's worth taking a look at. It says an awful lot about a lot of folks. Let's go over here to Breitbart and take a look. Poll: 56% Americans say they are better off now under Trump than 4 years ago under Obama-Biden. A solid majority of 56% of Americans say they are better off now than they were 4 years ago, a new Gallup survey reveals. Only 32% say they are worse off than 4 years ago. The number is, as Fox News' Laura Ingraham noted on Thursday night, the highest Gallup has ever recorded. Historically speaking, this bodes very well for President Donald Trump as he seeks re-election. Right around previous presidential elections, when an incumbent has been seeking re-election dating back to the mid-1980s, never has this number been this high, or even at a majority. For instance, when former President Barack Obama was seeking re-election in early 2012, the number was at 45%. It stayed at that level through the election and that Obama won until December 2012. Likewise, when former President George W. Bush was seeking re-election in 2004 in October, the number was at 47%. The junior Bush won. When former President George H.W. Bush was seeking re-election in 1992, the number dropped down to 38%, and the senior Bush lost. But in 1984, when former President Ronald Reagan was seeking re-election, he won 49 states in a landslide defeat of his Democratic opponent. The number was down at just 44%. It's unclear what the number was during former President Bill Clinton's re-election campaign in 1996 in the immediate lead-up to the election, as Gallup's chart does not include that year. But earlier, in 1996, less than a year before the election in January, the number was reported at 50%. While the 56% number is impressive indeed, again, the highest ever recorded this close to an election. It was even higher before the coronavirus pandemic swept across the United States in February. A whopping 61% said they believed they were better off than 3 years earlier when Trump took office in January 2017. As such, while the number slid a little bit, 5 points, all this also means that the vast majority of Americans think their lives are better off literally during, again, a pandemic that has upended American life than it was when Obama was president and Trump's opponent this year, former Vice President Joe Biden, was Obama's second-in-command. Even with the disruption from the pandemic, in other words, it is hard to see those people who like life more now under Trump than they did when Biden was in charge voting for a change. And it would amount to a serious historical aberration for Trump to lose, given the trends in Gallup polling on this question since Reagan asked it of the public in 1984. In other words, the only incumbent president who has lost re-election when seeking a second term since this question was first asked, the elder Bush, saw the number nearly 20% less than where it is now for Trump. And this year has an extra interesting dynamic in that the challenging party's candidate was the number 2 in the previous administration, which consistently had a much worse rating on this question than where it is now under Trump. The question represents an interesting gauge of support for an incumbent president facing re-election, as it asks, generally speaking, if the respondent believes their life has improved during the first term of the president asking voters for a second term. During his presidential campaign in 1980, Ronald Reagan asked Americans, "Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago?" Gallup's R.J. Reinhardt wrote. Since then, this question has served as a key standard that sitting presidents running for re-election have been held to. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like 56% of the people polled, which theoretically represents 56% of the voting nation, were feeling like Donald Trump's done at least a decent enough job to put him ahead of the other folks in the recent past, my entire lifetime. So all the political polls for the obvious left-wing Soros punditry news media groups out there, and Fox being effectively controlled opposition under the pay of the same, obviously. I mean, gosh, we all saw the Newt Gingrich clip where they just cut him off and threw him away. If all the polls say Donald Trump is going to lose and that Obama's buddy Biden there is going to take it, then why does Trump's approval polling say he's done better than any president my entire life? Well, let's all pretend like our opinions matter and leave them in the comments below. And remember, this is social media, so do all the things.